Anybody home? Come on out, everybody! It's time to play!
You're crazy.
I'm not crazy, I just don't give a fuck! Smoking bars outside inside, and I wanna know what the fuck you're doing with my time!
All I kick ass for the Lord.
What's up, you movie-loving maniacs, and welcome back to the Lucid Nightmare. I'm your host, as always, Jay Schatzer, and today I have a great film to showcase. A little bit of an oddity, but really fun and entertaining. It is Vernon Zimmerman's 1980 under-the-radar kind of flick. It is Fade to Black. And this one is something to behold. It's got a lot of cool elements to it, a lot of film buff stuff. But ultimately, it's just very entertaining and very wacky and out there. But let's get into it. Here is Fade to Black. So Fade to Black is a crazy flick. A lot of awesome stuff going for it. It's very film-centric. So it really calls from a lot of different elements of filmmaking and the obsession of films and stuff like that. It's pretty much the poster child for me. No, I'm just joking. I'm not going to go on a killing spree. But it's a really original 80s slasher that has a lot of things to say. But it also is extremely silly in parts with its kind of portrayal of people that watch violence are susceptible to violence. It's the old kind of tried and true, the moms against video games, against horror movies, against that kind of stuff, but put into a film premise. But let's talk about the actual premise. It pretty much centers around this one young man named Eric Binford, played by Dennis Christopher. And he's a loner, kind of a rebel, really obsessed with movies, doesn't have any friends, and works at a film company running errands and things like that. But he obsesses with movies and kind of loses himself in that fantasy. He imagines he sees a girl who looks like Marilyn Monroe, and he's talking with her, flirting with her, and wanting to just thinking that that's the real Marilyn Monroe. And he just has a lot of fantasies and delusions of grandeur and that kind of stuff. But that gets mixed up in reality, and he just kind of starts descending into madness and pretty much righting wrongs that people do to him through movie scenes. So it's really interesting, and like I said, interesting plot and premise, and it just goes from there. But there's other side characters too. Tim Thomerson. I always get that name mixed up. He plays a side character, a doctor that's working with the law department to kind of profile people that are like this, that kind of are obsessed with violence. So he's kind of the moms against whatever, kind of movement. He thinks that he's a victim of movies and violent things, and that he can get help and not be crazy. But it's a funny kind of role for him, because he's hardly in the movie at all. He shows up here and there, and then he's in the climax, but they don't really emphasize too much of the time on him. It's mostly Dennis's kind of time to shine in front of the camera with all his various characters, because every time he kills somebody, he's dressed up as a different kind of movie monster, or just a character actor or something like that. For instance, he's a mummy in one scene. He attacks his boss because his boss is always a dickhead to him. And he knows he has heart problems and medicine, so he kind of scares him as a mummy. He attacks a prostitute as a vampire, as Dracula. He's a cowboy, and he shoots one of these guys that are always harassing him, played by Mickey Rourke, a young Mickey Rourke. And just various things like that. He's a gangster with a gun. It's just fun, weird stuff, and it's kind of interesting because it's not just one genre, so it's all over the place, from horror movies to westerns to old 50s film noir and crime films. So it has a lot of things going for it in that aspect as well. But yeah, it's just really interesting shot. There's a lot of moments where he the director Vernon will splice movie clips in with what he's thinking. So it's like he'll be talking to somebody, and then it'll be like a gangster film, and he'll like start imitating that scene and play it out from there. Like Night of the Living Dead's in here. There's a whole bunch of different films that they kind of showcase to show his mind kind of deteriorating and how he's kind of mimicking what he's seeing on TV and film. But really, really awesome stuff. It really is an interesting 80s slasher, like I said. It kind of like a portrait of Henry, that serial killer movie. That one, stays really close to the main character and kind of shows his descent, just like Maniac 2. It's also that kind of film, but not as harsh as those ones, but it does have those elements. And like I said, it's just very interesting to see that kind of danger of violence on film spilling over to real life, that whole problem and that premise that a lot of politicians bring into their things to kind of shut this kind of stuff down. And I don't know if it's coming from that angle or not, but Tim Thomerson's character really does kind of imbue that feeling. But the film's awesome, really enjoyed it, and altogether, I highly recommend it. I think it's a really interesting film. Like I said, if you like movies like Maniac and Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, it does have those kind of elements where you're stuck with the main, I guess he's the antagonist, but he is the protagonist at the same time. He's just you wouldn't say anti-hero, because you're just watching a man descend into madness, but it's just a really awesome take on that kind of subject. And yeah, it's just really cool how they splice the obsession of film with the desperate spiral that he has mentally. Just really cool stuff, and highly recommend it to anyone that likes that kind of stuff. But guys, that's it for me. Hopefully you like that one, and hopefully you like what I'm doing here. If you do, please like and subscribe, and if you have time, leave a comment below, because I love hearing from you guys. But until then, I will see you all at the next Lucid Nightmare. See ya!